Hey guys, Ryan here, SP's Gym. This is episode 2, so we're starting to get into the arm wrestling workouts. Now, the workout you're about to see is Power Week for hands and wrist, so more cupping than anything. I'm going to give you guys a brief explanation of all the exercises, then you're going to see actual footage from the workout that I performed over the last, about a week ago now. But today is the day where I'm going to film all the explanations so you guys know exactly what I'm doing, and I'm sure more questions will come because of what you're about to see here. So, country crush handle. Exercise number 1 is going to be a static hold. So we're working up to, at about 300 pounds on the 1-to-1 stack here for this, and you want to get yourself, and I'm doing them seated, and get yourself in a position where you don't have much travel for this. So what I mean is, if your seated position has you reaching way up for the handle, get it chained and bring it down closer to you, so you only have a very small distance of travel to get the weight off of the ground. So I'm getting my hands in the position I want them to be in the arm wrestling match. Positive position. Bringing it down, and you're holding it in a positive position until the weight brings you back up to what would be considered neutral. Now, here's where it gets a little tricky. Guys will use way too much weight on this, and they'll be holding it, but they'll be holding it like this and barely hanging on. That's not the position we want to train. This is the position we want to train. Now, all these exercises that are static holds, I'm doing them at around 5 seconds per hold. So if I go to failure, which I'm trying to get to close to that line but not quite over it, the weight needs to go down. You have to stay in that sweet spot of about 5 seconds. That should give you ample time to absorb whatever kind of surge that your opponent is doing to you, or to withstand the power of your own movements that aren't directly related to this. So there it is. Nice and tight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and release. And we do that for a total of 3 sets. Exercise number 2, guys. It's one you've seen me do a lot before. Board hold. Again, I'll even do this from a standing position, and I want to train the angle of these knuckles to stay at 90 degrees. I want that to be as powerful as I can get it. I don't want to be opened up. I want to stay here. So even if I got to come deeper around my opponent's hands to get that during a match, that's what I'll do. But that's the position I'm going to want to make strong. So how do we do that? I use a board and I do holds. So I'll show you it from this angle, and I'm not going right against the block because that is a progression. So I'll put the weight here, and I will attempt to hold it for 5 seconds, slide it in, try to hold it for another 5 seconds. And you guys, that's going to be, again, 3 sets. Now, one of the things you guys are going to notice is these workouts aren't going to take very long, but they're fairly intense. And before, I should have mentioned this at the start, I do a super light warm-up, some light wrist curls, some light arm curls, just to get blood in everywhere and get everything lubricated so you're not going to injure yourself by going super intense right off the bat. Now the next exercise you're gonna see is a thin block pinch. So you see this block right here. Again, gripping large things where you have an opened up hand position is not conducive to practical, does not have any practical application in arm wrestling. You don't want your hand to be open, you want your hand to be tight. So when I'm doing this, again, similar to the block, but also incorporating the thumb, and it will, believe it or not, actually build thickness in your hand, is a thin block pinch. So again, staying in a positive position and picking up the weight in that position. I don't want to see, even if your wrists are bent back, your hand, that angle of your knuckles needs to be 90 degrees. Okay, but you're picking it straight up, holding it 5, putting it down, moving up in weight. Now you don't want to do this where you're just kind of opened right up, because you're past where you should be, which is right here, right here. And again, guys, 3 sets thin block pinch. This exercise doesn't have a great deal to do with cupping. It's more to support rising, but it has to do, it's an exercise that doesn't really fall into either day, so we threw it at the end of this one. It's just how it worked out, and it's wrist hammer. So I've lightened it up here just to demonstrate for you guys, but I'll usually grab the weight and stand up with it. But you're building this right here in your wrist. You want the ability to maintain a high hand unless something calls for a low hand, but you want power here. So how do you do it? Get in a positive position. And guys will also make the mistake of going too heavy on this and thinking, okay, I've got it. You don't got it. You're supposed to be right here. Okay? You'll see that in the video footage of the actual workout. And this one can be one of the most frustrating exercises to do, because it can take you a year to go up this much weight. I've seen it with people that I've trained with, and they want to go heavy, 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 and they feel a little bit inadequate when they're struggling to lift 7.5 pounds, but that's how it goes. That's it, everybody. That is the whole workout. Now, if you want to know the weights I do, the last time I did this workout, I was just shy of 300 pounds on the first exercise, which was the country crush hold. Board hold, around 175 pounds, and then there's the progression. Thin block pinch, wasn't a lot, guys. I've reincorporated that one just recently, and it's like 65 pounds. But keeping in mind, I can handle comfortably all of these weights, and I actually lowered the weight on my wrist hammer to 12.5 pounds. It was at 15. I couldn't comfortably hit the 5-second mark that I wanted to. So these are not getting close to huge world record numbers, but they are where I need to be to get stronger in my sport. So next week, you guys will see the power workout for elbow flexors. We'll call it elbow flexors. It's everything from, well, it's mostly static holds, some with tiny bits of motion, but you guys, I hope will enjoy it. I'll see you in a week with episode 3. Hey, and everyone, remember, subscribe to my channel, check out my Patreon site. Thank you everyone for your views, your shares, your likes. I appreciate it. And I will see you guys on Thursday, where I have a video coming up with an interview from a Canadian arm wrestler and promoter that has a lot of good stuff. So see you Thursday.